Hello everyone, and thank you for taking the time to watch this short video on IESA baseball rules and changes for the 2017 season. Appreciate you taking the time to follow this so that we can hopefully explain a few things, as there are some major changes in store for baseball for this season. By now, all of the schools should have received your 2017 baseball manual along with a copy of the National Federation Baseball Rules Book. The National Federation Rules Book is the book that will tell you the rules of baseball. Many of you are familiar with rules, I'm sure, but this book, again, is what we follow concerning what umpires use to determine playing rules. The playing manual, or better yet, the baseball manual that was sent to you, contains all kinds of information as it pertains to dates, when forms must be completed, playing schedule of the state series, exceptions that we have to the National Federation rules. For instance, we do not allow metal spikes. That's an exception to the Federation rule. Also included in the manual are the baseball bat regulations, and perhaps the biggest change that we have for this year are the new pitch count limitations that I will talk about here very soon. So again, I want to be sure that you have received your Federation rules book and the IESA baseball manual. And so let's talk about a couple of things that are new for 2017. And without a doubt, as I previously mentioned, the biggest change will be the pitch count limitations that are now in effect. Last fall, just a little over, not quite a year ago, in November of 2016, we had a group of about 25 to 30 baseball coaches convene a meeting here in Bloomington to talk about what type of changes we need to make to the pitching limitations. Most of you are familiar with the fact that we used to have an inning limitation where we allowed a maximum of 7 innings on any one day and 9 innings over the course of 2 days. Because the National Federation has mandated that we all go to pitch counts rather than some type of an inning limitation, this meeting of junior high coaches decided and gave a lot of excellent information to our baseball advisory committee in terms of what they felt an adequate pitch count limitation should be, along with corresponding number of days rest. And so after they met, our baseball advisory committee took that information that they heard from these coaches and put together a recommendation to the board of directors for pitch count limitations that will go into effect this year. It's important to realize that those pitch count limitations are true for not only the regular season, but the postseason, or what we call the state series as well. Now, those pitch count limitations are right in the middle of this baseball manual. It tells you if you pitch a certain number of pitches, if you throw a certain number of pitches, whether or not you can then throw the next day, and how many days of rest your pitcher must have before he can pitch again. Also included in the baseball manual as it relates to pitch count is a pitch count form that you could actually copy. This is also available on our website. If you go to simply our homepage, iesa.org, click on Boys Baseball, go to then the Forms and Documents link from the baseball page, and this form is also available there. But this is a handy little chart that you can use to chart the number of pitches that your pitchers throw in a given game. And again, you are going to be expected to abide by this, and if by chance you were to allow a pitcher to throw more pitches than what is allowed, then the penalty is that the game is automatically forfeited, and you as the coach will have to serve a 2-game penalty. These pitch counts are here for the safety of our pitchers, and we expect that you will abide by them. The one thing that's going to help us a little bit is that the high schools throughout the state had pitch count limitations this spring, and so a lot of coaches are familiar with those already, but it is going to be incumbent upon you to abide by these rules, to have pitchers ready in your bullpen, so to speak, if a pitcher reaches his maximum for a given day. And so that it's going to be just like a pitching change in the middle of an inning. If you have to bring a pitcher in, then they get their warm-up pitches and on we go. But it's not like an injury where they have unlimited warm-up pitches. You will have to have, again, your pitchers ready to go if you need to make a change in the middle of an inning because a given pitcher has reached his maximum. Again, you're going to need to know what those are. I'm asking you as coaches to not worry so much about what another pitcher has going into a given game. Take care of your own pitchers and worry about your own pitchers and the number of pitches that he has available to him on a given day, rather than getting so worried about, well, I know that this pitcher can only throw 50 pitches, let's say, against us, and if they go over, then we'll deal with it by someone contacting our office. In other words, what I'm saying to you is take care of your own house. Worry about your pitchers. If you do that, this thing should work as well as it can be expected. We are asking, much like the high schools did this spring, for coaches to meet after every even-numbered inning, i.e. after the 2nd inning, after the 4th inning, after the 6th inning, to compare your pitch counts. And if you don't agree, then what you would do is you would take an average of the difference. So let's say that you meet after the 4th inning and Coach A has 60 pitches listed for a team. The coach from the other team, from Team B, has 64 pitches. That would be then you would have 62 pitches as the official pitch count then starting the 5th inning. So again, use some common sense with this, but again, be sure that you are familiar with what these pitch counts are and understand that it is not up to the umpires to regulate this information or regulate the numbers. Their job is to run the game. They are not there to keep track of pitch counts. Again, you've got a form that you can use. If you don't like this form, if you've got something electronic that you keep a pitch count with, that's fine as well. But again, you are going to have to abide by these pitch count limitations. This has been passed by our board of directors, and it's expected that you will adhere to that. Along with the pitch count regulations, something that, again, we've talked about for many years is our bat regulations. Those bat regulations are also found in our baseball manual that we have given to you. There's a picture of it right here for you. It lists sample bat sizes. The basic gist of things is that if you're going to use a bat that is 30 inches or over, then you're going to need to be sure that that bat meets these -3 drop, has a BB core label on it, and has a maximum barrel diameter of 2 5/8. We would allow a bat that is 30 inches to be a greater than a -3 drop, i.e. say 30-20, 30-22, 29-20s, 29-17s. These are just examples of that, as long as that barrel diameter is 2 1/4 inches. Our official way of saying all of this is all bats 31 inches and over must meet the standards that are set in the National Federation Rule Book. Any bat that is 30 inches and under that has a 2¼ inch barrel bat would be a legal bat. There are some bats out there that you can purchase that are 30/27s, as I just mentioned, that do meet those Federation rule book standards that are 2 5/8 barrel and a -3 drop. Those are legal bats as well. Again, the chart that's in your baseball manual does a pretty good job of explaining the bat regulations to you. But if you have any questions, I encourage you to contact our office and ask for me, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you, because the last thing I want is someone going out and buying a $300 or $400 bat and then finding out that it's not a legal bat to use in the 2017 season. Another item that I want to bring to your attention, which is a little bit of a change for this coming school year, and has to do with your listing of your roster online and then seating that will take place this year. You must submit the listing of the participants within the regional by Tuesday, September 5th, midnight on Tuesday, September the 5th. You have to go online into our website and list the names of the 18 players that are going to make up your roster. Now, here's a change for this coming year. Previously, we would say to you that you could make changes to that roster all the way up until your first game in the regional. Now, this year's regional dates are September 12th, which is a Tuesday, Saturday, September the 16th, and the championship games are on Monday, September the 18th. So let's say that your first game in the regional, because you were a number 1 or a number 2 seed, wasn't until Saturday, September the 16th this year. In past years, we would say to you, you can make changes to your roster all the way up until Saturday, September the 16th. The change this year is that your roster is due by Tuesday, September the 5th, and then the last day that you can make any change to the roster is on Monday, September the 11th. So you have until 4 p.m. on Monday, September the 11th to make changes. After that date, your roster is frozen, even if you don't play your first game until the 16th. That way, that date is consistent for everyone, and no one can make changes after that date. So again, you must go online and submit your roster by September the 5th, and at that same time then, you must also list all of your contests, the games that have been played, and the result of that contest, whether you won the game or whether you lost the game, and what the score of that game was. Now, you can do this before September 5th if you want. For instance, if you only have 14 or 15 players on your team, and therefore you don't have to worry about making a cut to the 18 player maximum that we allow, you can go in today and list your 14 or 15 players, and you can list all of the games that you have either played or that you will be playing, and then you can go into that listing after you play a game and update the score so that you have a completed updated schedule and scores listed by that Tuesday, September the 5th. Because after that date, then on Wednesday the 6th and Thursday the 7th, you will go back into the system and you will seed the teams. Now, here's a change also regarding seeding for this coming year, and this is going to be true for all of our activities this year. In past years, after you seeded, no other school was able to see the seeds that you gave to the other schools within your regional. Unfortunately, we had some problems with schools who were not seeding fairly or ethically. We had things occur where we would have schools that literally had records in basketball, for instance, with a record of, say, 2-17 that were being seeded higher than schools with records of 8-8, or even in one case, They had a 10-8 record, and yet they were seeded lower than this school that had a record of 2-17. It was a direct attempt by that coach to influence the seeds and not seed fairly. And so to that end, we're going to make the seeds public now. So if you seed someone intentionally much lower than what they should have been, all the schools are going to see that. I encourage you, I implore you to seed fairly and seed ethically. I'm not saying that a team that has a less than 500 record, let's say a 7-9 record, can't be seeded higher than someone with a 9-7 record. You can take into factors into account such as strength of schedule, or whether or not the team that you played had mostly 8th graders on it, or was mostly 7th graders, or something along that line. Those things can certainly impact a seed, but there is no way that a team with a 1-18 record should ever be seeded higher than a school that has, let's say, a record of 11-2. And those are the types of things that we were seeing. And so we stopped it by, or what we hope will stop some of this unethical seeding, by now making the seeds available for all schools to see. So again, you will do that on Wednesday, September the 6th, and Thursday, September the 7th. And then we will tabulate the seeds, and then on Friday, September the 8th, we will turn around and we will release the seeds for everyone to see, and then those seeding results will determine the play-in games that will take place on Tuesday, September the 12th. The winners of those games will then play at your regional host site on Saturday, September the 16th, those two semifinal games, and then the championship game on Monday the 18th. So again, I look forward to this baseball season. It's certainly going to be something different given the pitch count regulations. My guess, coaches, is that you're going to have to make sure that you teach a lot of kids pitching this year. You're going to have to use some kids who probably aren't used to pitching so that you can stay within these regulations. But remember that the reason that we have these pitch count limitations in place is for the safety of our kids. We should have a fun season. Your games can start, if I look at my book here correctly, your games can begin starting Saturday, August the 12th. As you review this video and you have questions, please contact me in our office. I can be reached at 309-829-0114, or you can always reach me via email at steve@iesa.org. Thanks for your time. Please let me know if you have any questions. Have a good season.